My name is Ben Crow, and this is my SPED talk on Bootstrap. The reason why I decided to do my SPED talk on Bootstrap is because I'm using it for my senior project, which is a web application where I'm using Angular on the front end and .NET for the back end. Another reason why I decided to use Bootstrap is I wanted to learn it because in my experience, we're not allowed to use Bootstrap in most of the CS web development courses that I've taken at BYU, Idaho. I did have some experience using it in the final project for Web Backend 2. The team I was on used it to do the styling for our final project we did, and I found it to make the project look really nice, and the team member that used it said it was really easy to use. I feel like we use the term bootstrap a lot in computer science, so I decided to look up the definition. Of course, we all know the first definition, a loop at the back of a boot used to pull it on. As shown by this picture, it makes it a lot easier to pull your boots on. And in computer science, it's defined as a technique of loading a program into a computer by means of a few initial instructions which enable the introduction to the rest of the program from an input device. And in a web application, this could be the web index file that gets the application started and then hands off control to the controller in a model view controller design pattern. Now I'd just like to go a little bit into the history of Bootstrap. It was developed by Mark Otto and Jacob Thornton, who were employees at Twitter. And they released it as an open source product in August of 2011 on GitHub. And in June 2014, it became the #1 project downloaded from GitHub. So why should you use Bootstrap? First of all, it's very easy to use. Anybody with just basic knowledge of HTML and CSS can use Bootstrap. Bootstrap is very responsive. It adjusts your screen size to phones, tablets, and desktops. My experience has been in computer science, web development. They want you to start your styling with mobile first, and then you work your way down to desktop. And this is how Bootstrap works. Another reason is that Bootstrap is compatible with all modern browsers. But the main reason is it makes your project go a lot faster. It saves time. Just like with most libraries, you have pre-written blocks of source code that you can pull into your project just by adding a Bootstrap class name to your HTML tag. So how do you use Bootstrap? If you're using a framework for your project, you can use a package manager like NPM, Yarn, Ruby Gems, Composer, or if you're using .NET, then you can use NuGet. I'm using .NET, but because I'm using Angular in the front end, just by typing this Angular command, ng add ngx bootstrap, it's added to my front end. If you're not using a framework, then you can add Bootstrap to your project just by adding this script tag in your HTML file. And then, like this next example, you just add the class name to your button tag in your HTML file. Some examples of using Bootstrap. This is on the Bootstrap document, and it shows you these are all different examples of styling buttons, and these are done just by adding this class name to your button tag. You see this primary goes with the blue, secondary makes a gray button. You can see they're very responsive. They adjust to the size of the screen if I change the size of the screen. Another thing with Bootstrap is that you don't have to get all your Bootstrap code from bootstrap.com or bootstrap.io. There's also open source developers out there. If you do a Google search, there's lots of themes and different styling that you can get. Here's an example on startbootstrap.com. This is all pre-made styling you can use just by adding a Bootstrap class name to your HTML tag. You can make these buttons, different forms, carousels. Here's a form, a button, and as you can see, it's very responsive when I change the size of the screen. So that's my SPED talk on Bootstrap. Thank you for watching.